Hello friends, hope you had a good experience last time by understanding the techniques of the Madhubani painting. Today let us discuss the techniques of Gond painting. The Gond painting, as we have seen before, belongs to a Gond tribe who occupies the space in Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh and mostly in Madhya Pradesh. So, Gond painting is the painting that is done by the Gond tribe, and it is one of the most ritualistic art practice of that tribe. Traditionally, the lives of central India's forest dwelling Gond tribe have been intertwined with the wild. The prolonged closeness with flora and fauna reflect in the worldview and in the art. So, the Gond tribe have been living closely with the forest, and they have been interacting for a long time with the flora and fauna of the forest. So, this understanding, this closeness is reflected in their entire worldview and whatever they do in their day to day life. So, the art also reflect this closeness. The mountains, the water, the rivers, the flora and fauna all are represented in their paintings. Gond art has been practiced by the Gond tribe for centuries, adorning walls of the homes in the village. So, the Gond art are drawn on the walls of their of the houses they live in the mud walls of the houses they live in. The Gond art is connected with the belief that viewing a good image begets good luck. Owing to this belief, the Gond tribals traditionally painted their homes, mud walls and floors during festivals and marriages using color muds. Initially, they used to do it as a decorative and symbolic art which could fight off evil and invite optimism during festivals called Digna. Digna is a festival to celebrate auspicious occasions of Gond tribal life. So, the practice of painting Gond art comes from the belief that if you view a good work of art, it will bring you good luck. So, this belief has made the Gond tribal people to paint their walls with nice images of flora and fauna, and this they believe will ward off evil eyes and also bring them good luck. So, this belief in the understanding that looking at a good artwork will bring them good luck has been the source of the Gond paintings. Gond paintings can be best described as an online work. Lines are used in such a way that it conveys a sense of movement to the still images. Dots and dashes are added to impart a greater sense of movement and to increase the amount of details. So, as we have seen briefly in the previous class, the Gond art has a lot of detailing and it is done through dots and dashes. So, and the body and this dots and dashes are done in such a way that an image looks like as if it is moving. So, the impact is such that it gives a sense of movement to the art. The natural sourced pigments are derived from charcoal, as you know, as you have seen in other folk art of India as well, that the colors are derived from whatever naturally natural elements that is found nearby. So, here too it is done, the colors are extracted from charcoal, colored soils, plant sap, leaves and cow dung. This pigment sources produce the vibrant color black, white, red, blue and yellow. These colors are used to generate patterns and motifs of dot, lines, dashes and fish scales. The motifs have strong significance of the belief of the Gond people and demonstrate their relationship with the cosmic, natural, social and religious world. Gond art is today popular worldwide. It is largely due to the work of Jangar Singh Shyam, who was one of the first Gond artists to be recognized internationally. So, when you talk about Gond art, you cannot not mention the works and life of Jangar Singh Shyam, who was one of the most renowned Gond artists, and because of him the Gond art is now known internationally. So, he was the one who had brought out the Gond art from the walls and he had started painting them in canvas, in clothes, in papers. So, so he is regarded as one of the very important artists in the Gond folk art. J. Swaminathan, a mainstream artist in Madhya Pradesh, first learned of Shyam's work in the 1980s and invited him to exhibit his art in Bhopal. Jangar was influenced by Swaminathan in the use of modern materials such as canvas and paper, oil and watercolors. Jangar was then invited to take part in the Magician of the Earth exhibition at the Pompidou Center in Paris in 1989. This was followed by the other masters exhibition at the Mithila Museum in Tokyo, Japan in 1998, which focused on the works of 5 tribal artists from India. Jangar passed away in 2001. It was a very unfortunate event when he passed away in Japan in 2001. His work has been described by the director of the Galleria Ganesha in New Delhi as revealing both the animistic culture of the Gond tribe and one of the foundation of Indian thought. So, his work is revered as bringing a connection between the animistic belief of the tribal world, and it also has a very deep thought, Indian thought associated with it. So, this is a picture of Jangar Singsiam with his wife Nankushia and his mentor J. Swaminathan. Jangar Singsiam is in middle. So, these are some of Jangar Singsiam's work. On the left you can see a tree with a monkey, bird and an tiger. On the right you can see a landscape with spider. So, you can see the details of the work, the kind of nuances he does to his work, the detailing, the small minute dots and dashes, and you can also see the uses of color. He is one of the pioneer artists in the Gond art form who used different colors, different vibrant colors. The Gond people. The Gond people constitute a tribe identified as part of Gond region, which was recognized prior to the division of the states following the independence of India in 1947. So, there was a region which was called Gond region, and the Gond tribe used to inhabit this region. This was prior to the state formation that happened after independence. The Gond were prominent in Indian culture during the 14th century before the Mughal invasions from the north, which forced them to flee to the surrounding forest of the Vindhya and Satpura region. Nonetheless, the Gond are still the largest tribe in central India, comprised of more than 4 million people. So, they are the largest tribal population in India. Though predominantly centered in Madhya Pradesh, they represent significant numbers in the states of Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh and Orissa. The word Gond comes from the Dravidian expression of Kond, meaning green mountains. Green mountain is a reference to the Vindhya and Satpura mountain ranges, where most of the Gond people reside since the 14th century. Recorded history of Gond people begins in the 13th century, achieving greater significance in the 14th century due to the Gond Rajas. So, their name itself has a lot of a reference to the the environment they reside in, the nature they reside in. So, you can understand from that the Gond tribe is very closely associated with nature. Gond art. Gond art includes dance, songs and paintings. So, the Gond tribe not only has Gond painting, but they also include very nuanced dance and song art also. Stories are passed on orally through folk songs. This can be accompanied by traditional string instrument such as the kingri and the bana called demse. The song conveyed the religious history of Gonds, their deities and mythology. Stories are also communicated through folk dance. They may be performed at important events such as a birth or wedding and other celebrations and festivals. The Gond people imitate peacock, bees and other animals in the dancing. This is often accompanied by a percussion instrument such as the dhol. Rhythms is an important factor in their dancing. Singing often accompanies dancing, where impromptu lines may be added to the song. So, you can see that the paintings which you have already seen shows a very distinct, a very close relationship with nature. They would often draw the birds, the animals that they see around them. This is also reflected in the songs and the dances. In the dance, as you see, as we have mentioned, that they would imitate the peacock, the bees, the gait of the animals in the dance. So, nature has a very deep impact on Gond tribal life. Gond paintings are traditionally drawn to the inner and outer worlds of the homes. They may depict the local fauna, flora, goddess and goddesses. Traditional Goan wall paintings use natural material to create vibrant colored motif called Goan Pradhan motifs. They are comprised of fine lines, dots and dashes. A central theme of the painting is the depiction of their mystical belief. This is reflected in the use of image depicting gods and goddesses such as Ganesha and Shakti. Hindu rituals and stories of supernatural entities from ancient Hindu texts and a reverence of natural entities such as spiritually important trees or divine being, birds and animals that have spiritual significance. The cow, central to Hindu belief system, is prominent in these images. So, the Goan tribal, though they are originally or traditionally they are animistic, they have a lot of Hindu influence, and this is also reflected in the art form. When they draw the art form of god and goddesses, they also take draw few elements from the Hindu pantheons. For the Goan tribe, Mahua tree is sacred. This is revered for its life sustaining qualities. So, the Mahua tree or the tree of life is common motif in Goan art. This is in compliance with many other folk art of India, where the tree of life is depicted. With the branches reaching for the sky and deep roots into the earth, the tree of life dwells in the three worlds of heaven, earth and the underworld, acting as a link among the three. So, there is a deep spiritual meaning when they draw the tree of life, that is more often than not is the Mahua tree, which is very important for the Goan tribe, and they show that the roots are into the the root goes far below to the underworld, the trunk of the body is in earth and the branches go to the heaven. So, this has a very spiritual, very deep spiritual connection, saying that the tree of life connects all the tree world. So, here are some example. Different artists have drawn the tree of life in their own way. Please pay attention to how different they are. So, this is drawn by an Goan artist called Tikam. This is his tree of life. Then the next one is the tree of life by an artist Jangar Singh Syam. This is the tree of life drawn by Jangar Singh Syam. Please pay attention to the details, the usage of color, the way the dashes and the dots are put in the picture. So, as I was referring in the beginning, that the dashes and dots are put in such a way that it gives a sense of movement. So, here you see that as if the tree is growing to the sky, as if it is growing high above. The way the dots and dashes are used, it looks like the tree is moving, it has a sense of growth. This is a tree of life by Dhruve, another artist. Also pay attention to the way he has given his individualistic style to the tree of life. So, though the artist paint traditional things like the tree of life, the flora fauna, gods and goddesses, but some artists have been trying to experiment with this art form. This is one modern rendition of Goan art. You can see here a bicycle or a tricycle has been painted using the Goan art form. So, let us now try and see if we can make a Goan art. So, this is a very simple bird drawn in the Goan art style. You can take a paper and pencil and start drawing. Just pay attention to the way the wings, the body of the bird is drawn, the wings, the tail, the beak, the eyes, and see how the body is divided into different parts using sections, and then they have been filled with different colors, and dots and dashes are used to fill the body. So, this is where you start. First make the body of the bird, then the wings, then fill the colors. You can try making it if you like. Here is another one, a picture of a peacock in Goan art style. First you draw the body of the peacock, then you fill it with colors. So, these are the different patterns by which you can fill the body of the bird. Just pay attention to how fish scales, the first one is called fish scales pattern. Then you use the dashes in such a way that it gives the forms different sections, different patterns. Again the fish scale is used in a different way with smaller and bigger circles. So, these are some of the patterns used in Goan art. There are many, this is not exhaustive, there are many other patterns like this. So, you feel see the from here few of the patterns have been incorporated in the body of the peacock in here. So, you see the wings have been incorporated with this this style, this particular pattern. Then dots have been used, the scales have been used. Look at the tree, the way the patterns have been made here with just the dashes, with vertical and horizontal dashes. You give different texture to the tree trunk. Here look at the dots here in the body of the bird. So, some more detailing, also observe how these patterns have been used. This has been given dots and dashes have been used to form the textured body of the peacock. See how the details have been incorporated, how they have been nuanced. Please pay attention to this pattern here. Look at this zigzag pattern here drawn here. Look at this pattern. Look at the tree pattern. Look at the dashes in the legs. You can try making it. So, in this way there are various figures that are drawn. The first one is the figure of a woman, then a figure of a man, then a fish, a bird, then another bird. Please pay attention to the way the patterns are used. This dot, dash, fish scales and some curved lines are used to make fill the body. These are another examples. First one is a peacock, then a fish, then a bird, and another peacock and another variation of a peacock. These are few more examples: a bird, a snake, another bird, a lady with a pot and peacock. Please pay attention to the way the patterns have been used. Every artist has his or her own way of drawing the patterns with just dots and dashes. So, every individual artist develops his or her own style of drawing. Just look here at this peacock, the kinds of scaling that is done in the body, the the dashes how they have been used, here the dots how they have been used. Same way in the bird, look here, just pay attention to the detailing. Here the dashes are disconnected, here the line is complete. So, this way you can also form various different patterns by just using dots and dashes. These are few more examples. This pattern of drawing the peacock is very typical of the Goan art. Here is a leaf, here are some more examples, 2 peacocks, 2 fish and a bird eating fishes. Here are a few more examples. Peacock is a very important motif of Goan art. So, you will find different variety of peacock in different paintings. There is an owl, there is a fish and there is an elephant in here. So, you can also fill the motif with colors. Just pay attention to this painting, how a single bird can be made made to look different by using different patterns, different colors along with different patterns. Here is another example. These are the painting, these are the different variety of peacock that is created by using different colors and so on. So, now we must pay some attention to the difference between the Bhil and the Gond art styles. So, Bhil, the tribal group called Bhil and the tribal group called Gond, they reside in the same region, they reside in central India, and both of them have their own form of art, and many times it happens that the art forms are mistaken. The Bhil art is mistaken to be a Gond art is mistaken to be a Bhil art. So, let us see the difference between the two art style. They are two distinct styles which belongs to two distinct people. Sometimes Bhil art can be confused with Gond. Both the forms are use near similar metaphors. So, this is why they are confused. They use similar metaphors, similar way of telling a story. That is why it is often confused. But on close observation, we will find marked difference in the two figurative styles. So, what are the differences? The contours of Gond paintings are very well defined. So, you will find that in the Gond painting, the contours or the shapes are very well defined. It is in comparison to the Bhil art. In filling the motifs, Bhil use only dots in all colors, and this can be scattered or drawn in neat formation. In contrast, the Gond artists have developed a signature filling pattern, dot, dash, round, etc. So, in Bhil art, more often than not, you will see only dots, and colors usage of color is more compared to the Gond art, and we will see some examples of that. And as we have discussed in earlier, that Gond artists have developed very nuanced, very stylized way of drawing dots and dot, dashes and round figures. This is more they have developed them in their own artistic way. Gond art is usually proportionate, while the Bhil art have an unrestricted style. So, if you look at a Gond art and a Bhil art, you will see that in Gond art the body of the figures are very proportionate. A body of a woman or a man will be proportionate compared to the real image, whereas a Bhil art is not restricted to this. They might have a free flowing kind of pattern. So, this is an example. On the left you have a Bhil art, on the right you have a Gond art. So, see both have drawn the deer, but in the left side, that is the Bhil art, they have used only dots and colors, whereas on the right side you see very nuanced patterns where they have used curved lines, they have used dots and dashes in addition to colors also. So, look at also pay attention to the way they have drawn the body of the figures. In the Gond art, it is quite proportionate. It will, if you compare a real deer with this, you will find it is quite it's quite realistic. Whereas in the Bhil art, it is more stylized, it is more artistic imaginary. Also pay attention to the birds here. In the Bhil art, the bird here, and in the Gond art, the bird here. So, there are very clear cut distinction, but sometimes for untrained eyes there might be confusion which is which art. Also pay attention to this image. This might be very well be confused to Gond art, but it is not. It is an Australian Aboriginal art. It is confused with the Gond art sometimes because they also use the same pattern, the dots, the dashes, some usage of colors in certain way. Leading contemporary artist Venkat Raman Singh Shyam argues that there is an ancient shared history and geography. Gond is very similar to Aboriginal art because the Aborigines have their own stories like we do about creation, and they too make dashes and dots. Aboriginal art and Gond art have their connection because we are originally from the same continent of Gondwana when there were just two continents, Gondwana and Laurasia. India and Australia came from Gondwana and America came from Laurasia. The performance, dance and rituals as well as the drink they serve is like ours. So, there is a thought process which says that we all came from the same continent when they were not divided. So, our art also have some similarities with that of the others because the origin was same. So, with this we come to the end of today's lesson. For now we have seen two art forms, that is Madhubani and Gond. In the next classes we will see some other art forms from India. Thank you.